Last Sunday, 10 minutes before the Super Bowl kickoff, I was standing in my own kitchen watching buffalo sauce steam rise off a tray of wings when my wife's Apple Watch lit up on the counter. Samantha. I only glanced because I thought it might be the friends we'd invited over. My best bud Connor and his girlfriend Lana, asking about parking. Instead, the preview read, "Can't stop thinking about last night. Same room in Denver next month." The world went sideways. The ranch dip in my hand slipped, shattered, splattering the white cabinets. I remember the smell of buttermilk and vinegar, weirdly sharp in my nostrils, while the TV in the living room shouted about kickoff. My hands shook so badly I had to steady myself against the island. That's when I heard my wife, Emily, laughing with Connor in the den. Her laugh, the one that always sounded like the pop of a porch swing chain, loose and homey and mine. I pocketed her watch before my legs completely gave out, walked back into the den with a smile that felt stapled to my face, and told them the wings needed 5 more minutes. I don't know if either of them saw the tremor in my fingers clutching the baking sheet. I spent the entire first quarter tasting metal and trying to breathe through a smile. Some context before the next explosion. I'm 32, Emily's 30. We met freshman year at UT Austin, married 5 years ago, under live oak branches, strung with Edison bulbs. I'm a civil engineer. She handles marketing for a sports nutrition startup. We bought our first house last spring, affordable only because it's a half hour outside the city, and threw ourselves a backyard barbecue meets housewarming that turned into a tequila-soaked karaoke nightmare. If you scroll my Instagram, you'll see me, red solo cup in hand, serenading her off-key to Sweet Caroline. That's our brand of normal. The trip to Denver made sense on the surface. Emily's company is headquartered there, and she travels once a quarter. I'd never questioned it, but that text dragged every memory through a meat grinder. The extra workouts, the new seamless leggings delivered same day from Amazon, the sudden insistence on locking her phone with Face ID because biometrics are safer, little weirdnesses, all lining up like beer bottles on a fence post. I tried to keep it together, but by Wednesday the pressure was brutal. I couldn't focus on CAD drawings, even driving felt dreamlike. That night, Emily fell asleep early, face down across our king size like a starfish. I snuck her iPhone off the charger, praying the Face ID would fail in low light. It didn't. The phone unlocked in a Pixar bright bloom, and I was staring at her home screen, heartbeat in my teeth. There were no messages from Samantha. There was, however, a WhatsApp chat pinned to the top, initials SL. My stomach flipped. I opened it. The entire thread was cleared except for a single voice memo from 2 hours earlier, 46 seconds. Against every self-respecting instinct, I hit play. Her voice, husky, whispered, "I keep replaying Saturday. You smell like cedar and I can't shake it. I wish I was on that stupid couch with you instead of him. Instead of him. Instead of him." The words hammered my skull. I backed out and checked contacts. SL was Sarah Louise, her college roommate, nothing suspicious. But the profile photo wasn't Sarah Louise. It was Connor. The same Connor who grilled brisket in my yard on Labor Day and called me brother. At that moment, the bedroom door creaked. I fumbled the phone face down just as Emily's sleep mumbled, "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said, voice shredded. "Just locking up." My heart jackhammered so violently I thought the mattress would shake. I didn't sleep. At 4 a.m. I finally pushed off the sheets, slid into the garage, and sat in my Tacoma staring at the steering wheel until sunrise bloomed pink over the cul-de-sac. Thursday after work, I met Connor for our usual half-off IPAs at Hop Squad. My plan was, I don't know, something. Instead, I watched his face, looking for guilt. He wore that goofy Patagonia vest, talked about draft picks like nothing in the world was off-kilter. "So," I blurted, "you ever been to Denver?" He frowned mid-sip. "Couple years ago for a tech expo." "Why?" "Just curious." I forced a shrug. He chuckled. "Dude, you hate snow?" I laughed too loudly. When he went to the restroom, I did the unthinkable. Grabbed his phone off the bar. There it was. WhatsApp open, top conversation EE. The last line preview said, "Same room sounds perfect." My throat went dry. I shoved the phone back an instant before he returned. I couldn't confront him in public. Couldn't erupt without proof concrete enough to bury them both. So I played along, finished my beer, and drove home with my knuckles whitening the wheel. That night I texted Emily, "We still on for date night tomorrow?" She replied with a heart and can't wait. Friday was supposed to be our monthly ritual. Food truck tacos downtown, a movie at Alamo Drafthouse, and those stupid refillable popcorn tins. Instead, I spent the day laying traps. I called in sick, drove to a salvage yard, and bought a cheap GPS tracker barely bigger than a Tic Tac. I spent the afternoon watching YouTube tutorials, fingers trembling, while rain hammered the roof. At 6 p.m., when Emily left early for a salon appointment, I slipped the tracker into the lining of her carry-on. The same blue Samsonite she always packed for Denver. She came home, hair blown out, smelling like coconut and expensive betrayal. We ate tacos in awkward quiet. Halfway through the previews, she whispered that she felt nauseous and asked if we could bail. I nodded, heart thudding. In the parking lot, she hugged me too long, like preemptive penance, then claimed exhaustion and went straight to bed. I lay awake with my phone brightness on low, watching the tracker's app. At 2:13 a.m., the little dot blinked to life. Emily's location slid out of our driveway, turned toward the freeway, and accelerated north, straight for Connor's apartment complex. The dot stopped moving at 2:51 a.m. I sat there staring until dawn, while the neighborhood sprinklers switched on, and the morning doves kicked off their 5 a.m. soundtrack. At 6:22, the dot moved again, tracking south, pulling into our driveway at 6:47. She padded in, tiptoed a shower, slipped under the covers, and pretended to wake naturally at 8. I brewed coffee so black it tasted like rage. The Denver trip was scheduled for the following Thursday. I spent those interim days in war room mode, printing bank statements, copying chat logs I pulled from Emily's iCloud backup, screen recording the GPS history. I even visited a lawyer on Cesar Chavez Street, a stern woman named Mrs. Patel, who reminded me that Texas is a community property state. Each fact felt like replacing another Lego brick in a bridge I didn't want to walk across. The day before her flight, Emily surprised me with breakfast tacos in bed, flour tortillas, brisket, and that green tomatillo sauce she knows I love. She kissed my forehead and said, "I know I've been distracted, but this trip will clear up some stuff, I promise." I almost told her right there, mouth full of egg and lies. But I needed the showdown to be perfect. Thursday 5 p.m., I watched her lift pull away, suitcase loaded. I waited 15 minutes, called Connor. "Hey man, still on for poker tonight?" He paused. Too long. My pulse hit orbit. "Actually, brother, I'm slammed. Rain check?" Lightning bolt clarity. I said, "Sure, no worries." I hung up, threw my own duffel in the Tacoma, and headed for Austin Bergstrom. Emily's United flight was at 7:45. I booked the seat directly behind hers, paying last-minute rates that hurt worse than a payday loan APR. She never saw me. She was too busy texting, smiling into her screen. In Denver, I tailed her through the terminal like a budget store spy, heart drumming. She exited toward rideshare pickup. I ducked behind a column and watched Connor step out of a black Jeep. He kissed her, full-on, movie-style kiss, while news tickers scrolled inside my skull. I felt dissociation, like my soul took 3 steps backward. They slid into the Jeep and pulled away. I snagged an Uber and followed, my driver oblivious to the apocalypse in the back seat. They arrived at the Hotel Bourne, our anniversary hotel from 2 years ago. My stomach heaved. I paid the driver, walked across the wet pavement, and followed them into the lobby. My hands weren't hands, they were static. I made it onto the elevator with them, bless whoever designed mirrored panels because they were too busy grinning at each other to clock my reflection. Connor punched 7. I punched 8, heart slamming. The doors opened on 7. They slipped out laughing. I saw Connor's hand on the small of her back, felt my vision tunnel. I counted 10 breaths, rode to 8, then took the stairs down 2 at a time, landing soft outside their door. 7:14. A maid's cart saved me. Cloth laundry bag hanging open. I yanked out a white king-size sheet, draped it over the peephole, killing their fisheye view of the hall. Palms slick, I slid the key card the front desk had given me, my name was still on file, into the slot. Green light. I opened the door to Emily's laugh mid-sentence. He'd never think to. And then silence so thick you could suffocate on it. She was barefoot, still in jeans, shirt half-tucked. Connor stood behind her, bottle of Prosecco in hand, mouth open like a GIF loop. The sheet in my fist fluttered to the carpet. I said, very softly, "I thought you were meeting the Colorado office." Emily's face crumpled. Connor stepped forward. Man, I can explain. My voice cracked something fierce. Explain how my wife has you saved as Sarah Louise? Explain the GPS tracker? Explain that I just burned through our emergency fund to sit behind her on a plane so you could sneak attack my marriage at 10,000 feet? Emily dropped to her knees, hands clasped, tears sliding. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Connor reached for me, idiot that he is. I shoved him so hard he hit the dresser, Prosecco exploding, glass everywhere. Hotel security busted in less than 2 minutes later. They separated us, escorted me downstairs. I spent 3 hours in a Denver holding room, not arrested, just calming off, while Emily and Connor presumably swapped disaster notes upstairs. At 2 a.m. I was released. My phone pinged. Uber receipt $. Emily had sent a ride credit and a single text, please let me explain. I blocked her number outside the station, palms bleeding from unseen glass cuts. I booked the 6 a.m. back to Austin, sat in an airport Chili's at 3:34 a.m. sipping a warm Lone Star, wondering how many fights play out under fluorescent bar lights before dawn. Back in Texas, the lawyer set things in motion. Emily moved out to her sister's in Round Rock, left me the house but took the dog, our rescue beagle Rusty, and somehow that cut deepest. Connor's girlfriend Lana dumped him via Facebook status the same day. My mom baked casseroles I couldn't taste. I kept the GPS tracker on my desk like a paperweight from hell. A week later, Emily emailed an apology novel. She'd felt neglected during my 18-month highway interchange project. She and Connor had reconnected over Thanksgiving prep. Remember how stressed I was about the fryer? It escalated from venting to kissing to full-body sabotage. She admitted they'd booked this Denver trip as a fantasy bubble where real life couldn't reach them. I haven't answered. Maybe I never will. Some nights I scroll old photos, Emily in a foam finger at a Longhorns game, Emily carving the turkey last Thanksgiving, Emily wearing my flannel in a Vermont Airbnb during leaf season. Each picture looks staged now, like a true crime reenactment. Last Saturday, my friend group dragged me to a minor league baseball game. The crack of bats under cheap stadium lights felt oddly medicinal. Between innings, I found myself laughing at a toddler dancing on the Jumbotron. For 30 seconds, I forgot the shape of betrayal. And then I remembered Rusty. Lounging on our couch, ears twitching toward every little sound, and I almost texted Emily to ask how he was. I didn't. But I almost did. I discovered my wife's year-long affair with my best friend through a stray text before the Super Bowl, gathered proof via WhatsApp snooping and a covert GPS tracker, and confronted them in a Denver hotel room they'd planned as their getaway. The marriage is now collapsing into divorce, friendships are scorched, and I'm left sifting through memories that feel counterfeit, trying to figure out what's next after the ground gave way beneath ordinary life.